99.9% effective. That's the latest result from tests on the anti-HIV drug lenacapavir. It works by stopping the spread of the virus that can cause AIDS. And a new trial included cisgender men, transgender women, and non-binary people who have sex with men. That means 2 large-scale trials have shown the drug provides almost complete protection against infection with the virus. Around 40 million people are infected with HIV worldwide, and lenacapavir will give a huge boost to prevention efforts. But getting it to the people who need it most could prove tricky.
The anti-HIV compound lenacapavir has been approved since 2022 as a treatment for people who already have HIV. But new research looked at whether it was also able to act as a pre-exposure prophylaxis or PrEP medication, one that can prevent people who take it from contracting HIV in the first place. Other approved PrEP drugs are pills that have to be taken every day, but lenacapavir can be injected and remains effective for 6 months, a major advantage.
With the twice yearly injectable, we know that participants will be quite excited about it, just purely because the injectable versus the pill, we've seen how adherence is not always the greatest when it comes to the pill, purely because of different reasons, time, ability to go and fetch those pills from the clinics.
Lenacapavir is an antiviral molecule that works by interfering with the protein capsule that surrounds HIV's genetic code, making it unable to replicate in cells. In new trials involving thousands of test subjects worldwide, many in South Africa and Uganda, the injectable compound performed almost perfectly.
Lenacapavir is actually so highly effective. It's in a different category of preventive medicines. Condoms are there, oral PrEP is there, they are also effective, but lenacapavir is so super effective.
Social workers say access to the compound could have a big impact on infection rates.
So the injectable will be really great for the young girls because they will come in like each and every 6 months compared to taking a pill each and every day. So it will be almost like when you come in for your contraception. So for them, it will be really great. It will boost the number of people who are coming in to take the injection. So it will lower the rates of HIV in the community.
Lenacapavir is made by U.S.-based biopharma Gilead Sciences. It's still on patent, meaning the company has a monopoly on its sale. So organizations like UNAIDS, which was set up to end the HIV pandemic, are urging the firm to take swift action to make it more widely available.
I think Gilead has an opportunity to take us closer to ending AIDS as a public health threat. They can make history with this, not only by putting it out there as a preventive tool for everyone who needs it all over the world through generic production, but also licensing it for everything, not just for prevention, but also for treatment.
But there are still big hurdles to clear before that can happen. The price issue foremost among them. In countries where it's currently approved as an HIV treatment, courses of lenacapavir cost over $40,000 a year.
For more on this, let's bring in Dr. Felix Mogaka, a clinical scientist in Nairobi, Kenya. Hello and welcome to DW News Africa. You've called on Gilead to prioritize the areas where HIV is spreading fastest. We know that is Southern and Eastern Africa, accounting for 80% of all new global infections. Could lenacapavir stop the virus in its tracks?
Thank you, and for having me here. And as you rightly observed, Eastern and Southern Africa bears the greatest burden of HIV, new HIV infections. And we are excited about the recent studies that have shown that 6 monthly injection of HIV prevention drug has been 100% effective in preventing new infections. And this represents a big opportunity to respond to the HIV burden in our setting here in Eastern and Southern Africa.
So does this treatment have the potential to end HIV as we know it?
You could say so, but I think the biggest challenge here is that it's one thing for a treatment to work well, and another thing for it to have population-level impact. So it's true that this medication has shown very good results so far, 100% efficacy in Eastern and Southern Africa, but it's another thing whether this medication reaches the people that need it the most, which is, for our situation, adolescent girls and young women, which is a group that is already marginalized, both economically and socially and politically. So it's one thing for it to work, and another thing whether it reaches these people in a way and where they can access it.
You don't sound optimistic that it will reach the people in dire need of it. Is that what I'm sensing, or what is it?
Well, what I'm saying that it's possible, but there are things that have to be done, and you have to do this intentionally, because right now you already have a medication that works, that can be given every 8 weeks, and it's not yet in the arms of people who need it. So there have to be things that have to be done intentionally for this to have an impact.
Like what? What needs to be done?
I think this is, you can look at different levels because it takes many hands to raise a child, as we say here in my context here. So there are things that the fund has to do, there are things that governments have to do, and there are things that other civil societies have to do. For the manufacturer of this medication, the first thing to do is to fast track getting regulatory approval from different governments. And they have to do this concurrently and do this fast so that it's not a sequential step. And then they have to negotiate early on with generic manufacturers and probably make these licenses public so that we can hold them accountable. Then for governments, they need to anticipate that these approvals are coming in. They need to fast track these approvals so that, and then develop regulatory guidelines to deliver these medications so that by the time we have these approvals, then we already have the guidelines to deliver these medications. And of course, for funders, they need to guarantee purchases alongside with governments, purchase of this medication, and also being the biggest purchasers of these to also drive to negotiate prices down and also work with the pharmaceutical company that's developing this medication in identifying generic manufacturers, probably across different geographic regions, so that we have adequate volumes in a fast manner.
Right. If Gilead are listening and you could send them a message, what would you tell them right now?
I would tell them that they are on the brink of doing one of the greatest public health interventions that we could have witnessed. So I think it's all in their hands. They have the experience. They have worked with in this space for a long time. And I'm just challenging them that this time, let's do things right. Let's, we know what we need to do to have an impact. So let's prioritize having this medication to the people who need them in a way that they can access them in terms of pricing. And I think just to listen to every stakeholder. So I would just say that, they are on the cusp, or if you could say so, of, being on the right side of history. So
okay.
I would ask them to take advantage of this.
Okay. Dr. Felix Mugaka, clinical scientist in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
We reached out to Gilead, and here is an excerpt from the statement. Gilead is committed to making lenacapavir available in the countries where the need is greatest until voluntary licensing partners are able to supply high-quality, low-cost versions of lenacapavir. Gilead is committed to access pricing for high-incidence, resource-limited countries.